Hello from Jonathan and from me. Welcome to our first programme of the year.
Yep, it's great to be back. Now, first, as the big chill tightens its grip on our region, a warning tonight that the freezing weather is expected to get worse throughout the week.
Thousands struggled to work today, facing difficult driving conditions and delays on the trains.
Well, in a moment, Amanda will be telling us about warnings of snow across our region. But first, Malcolm Robertson is at a gritting depot at Aylsham in Norfolk. So, Malcolm, it's another busy night ahead then for the drivers there, I imagine.
It is, Jonathan, yet again. Now, here at Aylsham, of the last 19 days, gritting lorries have been out on 17 of those days, day and night. And those lorries went out about an hour ago at 5 o'clock for the latest run. And you can see Jason here getting the salt ready for when they return. They're due back about 3 o'clock in the morning, and they're expected to make another couple of journeys early tomorrow morning. So we're expecting more sub-zero temperatures throughout the night. And for the next few days, a lot of ice, a lot of snow, which means that a lot of councils in our region will be worrying whether they've got enough supplies of salt. For those returning to work after the Christmas holiday, it's been pretty bleak, bitterly cold, and not for the first time in the immediate aftermath of a New Year break, problems for rail travellers on the line between Norwich and London. Overrunning engineering work leading to the cancellation of some services and delays to others. At Colchester station today, a sense of frustration among commuters.
So you'd expect it, sort of, as a public service, for it to be able to be on time and, you know, always sort of get you to where you want to be, rather than you get to the station within 5 minutes your train's been cancelled and you're sat there doing nothing.
I'm meant to be in clinic in Clacton seeing patients for the NHS, and so obviously they're waiting there to be seen, and then my clinic's going to be running late, and then it's going to be the same old story that patients get frustrated with being kept waiting when it's the trains that are running late, and it's all because of works in London.
Freezing temperatures have also posed difficulties for a lot of people. The real problem are side roads and streets which remain untreated and really slippery pavements. And with sub-zero temperatures likely to last for several days to come, these treacherous conditions will continue to be a real problem. The sort of problems Doreen Quantrill faced when she ventured out to the shops today.
We don't get any sand round this way, do we? Only on the main roads. I would have thought they could have come round here, but there we are.
Whether you were out on foot or behind the wheel, conditions were tricky for many of those in the region. Not everyone had the option of staying at home.
Got a doctor's appointment today, so I've got to go out. So I've either got to walk on the icy paths or driving on the icy road just here.
Across the region, a familiar refrain that councils should be treating more roads than they do.
To do a lot more will cost vastly more money, and it would mean having equipment available for winters that come only every few years, because after all we're told that the climate is getting warmer. Ought we really to invest a lot of money in snow equipment and snow ploughing equipment for the occasional bad winter?
Breakdown services have reported a huge number of call-outs. Just today alone, the RAC have dealt with 15,000 incidents, getting close to the record daily total set 5 years ago.
We're seeing a lot of problems now with the temperatures having an effect on the vehicles. Not only are they being left for a long time over the Christmas break, but with overnight temperatures being so cold, it manages to bring the temperature of the cars down quite severely, and this is when we begin to see starting problems. Vehicles are very reluctant to get started in the morning and get going and get people to work.
So tricky today, with the prospect of it getting a lot worse in the days ahead.
So, Malcolm, are our councils confident that they've got enough salt to keep our roads gritted throughout this cold snap?
Well, actually, despite all the problems with the bad weather, at the moment, yes, they are. Now, Northamptonshire, Cambridgeshire, Peterborough, Bedfordshire, Essex, Norfolk all say they've got plenty of supplies. The irony is, though, that if we get particularly bad weather and a lot of snow, will those extra supplies that they need be able to get through? Now, that's a concern for Norfolk, although they do actually have a boatload arriving at King's Lynn Docks tomorrow. The other problem is if the government says, actually, we need some of the supplies deployed elsewhere, perhaps to Fife in Scotland, where they've run out, will, in fact, those supplies that were destined for places like Norfolk and places in our region, will they suffer because they have to go elsewhere? So you can see that a number of councils in our region will be taking a very close look at the weather in the next few days and wondering what the future outcome might be.
All right, Malcolm, thank you for that. And Jason in the digger there. Right, let's join Amanda now. Amanda, I gather this cold snap is set to continue then and get worse.
Yes, I'm afraid it is continuing for the rest of the week. More snow is on the cards and a weather watch is in place for most of the region for tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, as many of us could see a few centimetres of snowfall, which could cause some disruption. And that weather watch could also be extended into the weekend. Now, not such bad news if you've got a sledge for Christmas, but I'm afraid it will be a real pain for most of us. Now, if we take a quick look at this map of Europe, you can see the blue colours across France, Germany, Poland, Norway and, of course, the UK. Last night down to -7 at Marham in Norfolk and at Woburn in Bedfordshire. And that's why any rain that does creep in will most likely turn to sleet or snow as it hits the freezing air. So it looks like eastern parts are in for the firing line as we go through this week. But I'll be back later to bring you all the details on that.
Forward to that, Amanda. Thank you very much indeed. Now, next tonight, 7 Muslim men accused of shouting abuse during a soldiers' homecoming parade in Luton went on trial today.
Angry scenes broke out during the parade last March for the 2nd Battalion, the Royal Anglian Regiment. The court heard how the men told the soldiers to burn in hell and branded them murderers and rapists. Matthew Hudson reports.
Were they exercising freedom of speech or using threatening behaviour and harassing people? The 7 defendants arriving at Luton Magistrates Court, where a district judge will decide. All were part of an anti-war protest staged by young Muslims as the Royal Anglian Regiment paraded through the town after returning from Iraq last spring. The prosecution claims their actions went beyond their right to freedom of speech. This case actually boils down to half a dozen phrases which the prosecution alleges all of the defendants were heard chanting during the protest. They're alleged to have said British soldiers murderers, British soldiers baby killers, British soldiers go to hell, British soldiers burn in hell, baby killers and rapists, all of you, and British soldiers, you will pay. The last, the prosecution says, could be interpreted as being threatening behaviour. The 7 defendants, who are all from Luton, deny using words and behaviour likely to cause alarm or distress. They are Jubair Ahmed, Shazajar Chowdhury, Jalal Ahmed, Zayer Rahman, Munin Abdul, Yusuf Bashir and Ibrahim Anderson. The court heard during the incident on March the 10th, the anti-war protesters were confronted by a large group of local people opposed to their actions. The police kept the 2 factions apart as the Anglians paraded by. The regiment has made it clear it did not feel threatened by the protest. This trial got off to an unusual start when all 7 defendants refused to stand when the judge entered the room. Their barristers explained to the judge that this was not a mark of disrespect, but was simply because their religion did not allow them to stand up when someone entered the room. The judge said she was happy to accept that as long as they were prepared to stand when they gave their evidence. The 7 left court accompanied by several supporters. The trial will continue tomorrow morning when the judge is due to view video footage of the events. Matthew Hudson, Anglian News, Luton Magistrates Court.
Meanwhile, it's been confirmed that a soldier from the Royal Anglian Regiment has died after an explosion in Afghanistan. He was killed while on foot patrol in the Nadi Ali area in Helmand Province yesterday afternoon. Next of kin have been informed. The death is the first suffered by British troops in Afghanistan in 2010. The families of 2 RAF pilots blamed for the Chinook helicopter crash, which left 29 dead, say new evidence